but if you're just gonna come out and have a 3-point shooting contest every night,
Don't you think that's coaching style too?
That was Basketball Hall of Famer Charles Barkley, who was complaining about NBA ratings and how they are down due to NBA's increased three-point volume. In Game 7 of the 2018 Western Conference Finals, the Houston Rockets missed 27 consecutive threes. Traditional wisdom would tell the Rockets to stop shooting so much three-point attempt. As you watch these three-point attempts go up, notice how the shot quality progressively is getting better, although there are some James Harden shucked-up three-point attempts. However, Charles Barkley sees all of these three-point attempts as chucked-up threes from James Harden. He sees no difference between the LaMelo Ball clip in the intro and a solid attempted three-point shot. And to the average fan, these might seem like chucked-up threes, but Charles Barkley is a member of Inside the NBA, and he needs to be able to identify what a good and bad three-point shot attempt is. And I think him not being able to recognize and articulate that to the fans is just as bad for the NBA ratings as the NBA taking an increased amount of three-point attempts. Recently, JJ Redick called out Charles Barkley for not really knowing much about modern basketball and how he repeatedly trashes the modern game. Imagine if Microsoft had a new laptop, but all of their employees just complained about the new laptop because it didn't match what the old laptop that they grew up with was. How would Microsoft be, as a company, putting that person in charge of promoting the product that they are trying to sell? As a spectator of the rating saga of 2024, I've seen a lot of narratives being pushed about modern basketball that I think are more applicable to the NBA All-Star game. A bunch of threes, no defense, flopping, complaining to refs, and again, no more defense. The reason these are common narratives is because the people who are promoting the product don't know good defense when they see it, because the game has changed so much from when they played basketball. Back when Charles Barkley played, the NBA had an offensive rating, league average, of 108. That league average offensive rating stayed intact until the mid-2010s. Of course, fluctuating a lot in between, going very low in the early 2000s. But then in the late 2010s became the three-point revolution, where three-point attempts tripled while maintaining the percentages throughout NBA history. Along with this, offensive rating was able to break the plateau of 108 that had been intact for almost 30 years. Now the Golden State Warriors, who had the best offensive rating in 2016, would be the 21st offensive rating in the modern NBA. The 2016 Warriors, who Charles Barkley was very critical of for taking a ton of jump shots. He specifically said a jump shooting team cannot win a championship, which the Warriors in turn did 4 times. I really don't understand how NBA appoints the guys on TNT who really don't know what is going on. They repeatedly trash the game and don't know what they're talking about. For this episode, I'm going to watch the highlights of a Celtics game, who are the reigning champs and are the first team ever to attempt 53s a game, while having a very good offense, one of the 5 best in the league. Doing so, I'm going to break down what is actually going on in the game, because the people with the NBA don't do that for you. First play, just for notice, I haven't gone through and watched this game. So as you see, there's a mid-range shot. They shot a lot of those in the 90s. So Jaylen Brown getting to the paint. So this is an important note here. So notice how they're initiating the offense from the top. Typically in the 90s, they would initiate the offense in the low post, and they would have a ton of people in the lanes. Like here you have Derek White, Tatum, Horford, and Holiday. They're all out at the three-point line. Typically in the 90s, the point guard's just chilling out around here, just waiting around. Maybe not the point guard, but some of the wings are just chilling around inside the three-point line, which doesn't make very much sense, because even if you shoot the ball from there, like you're getting a low efficiency shot, you'll maybe hit it 40% of the time and it's only 2 points, versus over here you'll hit it 35% of the time and it's 3 points, and 0.3 times 3 is 0.9, and then 0.4 times 2 is 0.8. So you can tell where the math works here. So notice how they're still initiating and trying to get to the paint. What happens here is no help comes. I mean, Barnes comes pretty late here, but Brown's not a very, willing passer. He gets to the rim, makes a layup. And I think that's where so much gets lost is teams are not just trying to shoot a ton of threes. You see Horford shoots one here. Teams are not just trying to shoot a ton of threes, but like, are you really going to doubt that look? Is an open 3, 6 seconds on the clock. That is a good shot, right? Just because it's a center taking it, I know some people will be, reluctant about it, but you see the space. Even if Tatum were not to have probably been doubled here, which is why Olynyk's coming from this side, Tatum would have had an open lane, more likely than not, to run all of this space because the center would be stretched out to Al Horford. The goal here is to create a rim shot attempt, but the defense doubles and forces a pass, and Al Horford shoots a 3. Okay, you see they run an off-ball screen. Oh, look, you get a catch-and-shoot shot. They used to run these in the 90s for Reggie Miller. The difference is Reggie Miller would shoot where Olynyk's or where Pirtle's foot is. Charles Barkley also doesn't know who Jakob Pirtle is, so I think that's an important note. That's a good shot. Can't fault that. Regardless of what the result is, I know before I said it's a good shot when something goes down. So look, this is a duck to the basket, right? They probably aren't running the post up here for Jaylen Brown, but if they are, like, they have the space for it. Before in the 90s, this paint would be clogged. Maybe this wing here wouldn't be spacing in the corner. Just basic stuff that, like, it makes it harder for Scotty Barnes to go double Jaylen Brown in this spot. I know Drew Holiday takes a 3-point attempt here, but it was, legitimately an okay shot here. I would say this is not a perfect shot attempt. He makes it though. Double staggers over here for Barrett. It gets waved off, or not Barrett. It actually didn't turn into double staggers because he attacked. But they're attacking the paint here. The center has to be occupied because sometimes teams will run this screen for 30 here to go out here. I know I just got on Shaq for not knowing, but I think it's Ochai Agbaji. They'll have this guard here set the screen for him to go, and this is how you occupy defenders with non-shooters, with Pirtle and Davion Mitchell, who aren't necessarily great shooters. Their men have to, stay attached to a shooter over here that could potentially get a double screens off ball. And then transition here. Oh, look, another double team. They're trying to initiate Tatum going to the rim off of a pick and roll. They double team. They kick out that good basketball. That's been played for 30 years now. I didn't see necessarily the clock here, but that's Jamal Shed shooting. I mean, it's an open shot. You could say he should kick it over there to Boucher. I don't see the defender for him, so I would say that would have been a better opportunity. But either way, it's probably going to end up in an open 3 because there's no reason you would just drive to the basket. Just to drive the basket, because what would end up happening is Scotty Barnes would have to run backwards to sprint to the corner, more likely than not, because they can still guard 3-on-2 in this situation, more likely than not. So off of an offensive rebound, they kick down. Oh, they hit a cutter. They've been doing that for 60 years now. But look, if the help here with Barnes comes a little bit sooner, which I don't know if it necessarily should, because Boucher is, caught sleeping here. How Charles Barkley sees basketball, Tatum is still just standing in the rim here, or in the corner here, and not cutting to the rim. If there is help coming, like let's say Boucher wasn't caught sleeping, and Barnes has to help on this cut. Sam Hauser's wide open in the corner. Like, they're trying to create rim pressure, and then what defenses have to do now is they have to send help. And since the floor is more space, it leads to 3-point shots versus long twos, which aren't very efficient. And I'm realizing that I'm not going to get through this 10-minute game recap. Looks like it was a pitch back. No, it was a drive. Look. 23 is driving to the paint. They leave Scotty Barnes open to cut off the driving lane, just like they would do in the 90s. Scotty Barnes shoots a catch-and-shoot 3. It's just everybody shoots 3s now, and that's what I guess it drives people crazy. This sounds crazy, but that is a good shot. Nobody else is running. Shoot, go ahead and create one for you. I mean, shots like that happened in the 90s. It's just they were from, 19 feet. I wouldn't necessarily say go do this 6 times a game, but this is a perfectly fine outcome in modern basketball. This is just... Oh, right out the break. Oh, staggers. Oh, Iverson. Ran this for Iverson literally his whole career. Iverson got it. Very simple. What some teams can do too. Hauser sets the second one, and then Keita sets a flare for Hauser. Didn't happen here, but could be fun. Important thing to note here, like Horford is looking there first, right? He is looking there first, but Barnes takes this away right away. Defenses are still trying to take away shots here. It's just teams are so much better now. Pritchard, great player. Like the sixth most talented. With Porzingis out there, he's the 6th most talented player on their team. 6th most talented player in the 90s is not as good as Peyton Pritchard on a 90s team. Teams just have so many more guys who can do stuff. Like, you look out here, like, sure, you leave Keita. Al Horford, you're not leaving Horford. You're not leaving Brown, although you can a little bit. You're not leaving Hauser. Like, you can't leave so many guys like you could in the early 90s, just because teams realize now that it is important to be able to shoot the ball. Oh wow, another open 3 on the fast break. Teams, look, important thing to note too. Here, there's not really much of a threat because Horford's running with the big, so these guys know to pick up the guards. But a lot of the times when there's open 3s on the break, like, I guess I will go to this one before. Brown knows there's 2 shooters there. A lot of the time teams will run and they'll protect this paint first and they'll give up break 3s. Clearly they're trying to create shots at the rim with Brown there. Look, 90% chance Bruce Brown shoots this. It was a bad catch. Oh, but they'll get the seal. It's good basketball. It's been played for 30 years. Late clock attempt. It's not what they're trying to get into, but when everybody's spacing out here too is another key part. When everybody's spacing out here and they have to do a late kick out for a grenade, it's probably going to be a 3 because everybody's going to space around creators. So grenades are going to be 3s when before they were 2s. They're playing aggressive under, they drop, trying to take away drives on a non-shooter Davion Mitchell. He takes the shot. They initiate high post to Tatum. It ends up being a higher catch than they probably want. They're trying to get that cut to Brown. Ends up in a shot attempt anyway. Like, they're trying to get this cut to Brown. Mitchell kind of just blows it up with probably not a great screen. Ends up being another fast break layup. They inbound the ball under the basket. Whoa. This probably wasn't even designed. Mitchell kind of just saw that he had a chance to get a 3 there. So, like, look, while Brown's attacking, Cornette's not out of the paint because he's not a shooter. But he's probably trying to get a seal here, I would assume, because Brown's a really right-hand dominant driver. He's trying to seal Pirtle on the left side so Brown can get the layup on this side of him. Spacing over here. Spacing. Ends up in a shot attempt, but, like, if Mitchell plays a little bit better defense here, look what Brown does, like right at the end. Oh, look what Bruce Brown does right now. I guess he didn't do it as hard as I thought, but like even Barnes and Shed, like they're looking at the driver. Yeah, you give him that, you take it. Michael Jordan never did that. It's a very 90s looking possession, but the goal there was to get Tatum going to the rim. Here, I mean, you're going to say, I'm pretty sure this ends up in a Tatum 3. Or ends up in a Holiday 3. Oh, well, it's towards the end. I'm trying to double Brown. Going left. Look, all you have to say on an NBA broadcast, they're trying to get Tatum going to the rim. Good screen by Al Horford. Center screen setting needs to be highlighted more because it's one of the most important things for centers. Hurdle has this slight drop back. It's a shot. Spread pick and roll. Spacing. Oh, wow. Ends up in a good attempt there, kind of. Could have been an attempt. He attacks. Good move, Walter. Typically here, you look what White is doing. He's pointing up. This is probably to get Tatum running this way towards the right side. You can kind of tell by how Pirtle's playing it. They're expecting it to go this way. Barnes cheats. Horford flips it. He didn't really need to take that extra dribble there. Like, it's just kind of simple. So, yeah, this is what they just ran for Tatum right here. They get Brown to catch here, and then this is supposed to be a flare. They have a similar setup. I guess White was going to pop out. Then they run a flare for White. This is literally this is just to Akia because look, it looks like White's going to set a screen. Walter has no idea what the ball's doing, so it ends up putting them in this situation here where it's Brown 2-on-1. It's either going to be a layup or it's going to be this 3-point attempt. They get a layup here because Brown's an elite player. And okay, so here they set a post up for Jaylen Brown. The goal here is to get a rim attempt with a great athlete right here in Jaylen Brown. They don't end up getting it. They send Pirtle, kick out, swing, open 3, 20 feet of space for a pretty solid shooter. That basically does it for this. I wanted to go through this myself because I think a lot of what's going on in the media right now is kind of dumb. I think there's no better way to get somebody in tune and locked in to watch high-level basketball than to explain high-level basketball to them. And I feel like that's something that it's just going, it's not happening enough.